Today, we've had report from some French outlet that over the weekend, Liverpool met with the agent of Jean-Philippe Mateta of Crystal Palace. Now, Mateta is obviously a very good player, and he's had a really good run. Probably the last 18 months, he's really stepped up his game. When he first went to Palace, it felt a bit like he had a lot of the skills you would want in a number 9, but was a little bit hopeless in front of goal. You know, he scored 2 goals in his first season there. Actually, excuse me, let me track back. He scored 7 goals in his first half season there. His loan was extended by another year. He scored... Wait, I need to start this again. He scored 1 goal in 7 games in his first half season. Then he scored 7 in 28 in a full season. And then Palace made the deal permanent. And then he scored 2 in 32. Now, bear in mind, this is under Patrick Vieira and Roy Hodgson. Not exactly people known for helping strikers get better. In the 23-24 season, he had a really good outcome where he scored 19 goals in 39 games. But the season splits are kind of funny when you look at when he scored his goals that year. The arrival of Glasner, massively impactful. Absolutely massively impactful. For whatever reason, Roy Hodgson just stifles forward players because maybe he gets his jollies off with that. But if you look at Mateta, he doesn't score a single goal up until the 9th of December. Then he scores on the 16th of December. Then he doesn't score again until the 3rd of February in the league. Now, this is just the league. So through 25 games in the league, he's scored 3 goals. Now, he has missed 3 games. So it's 22 games, 3 goals. And then Roy leaves. And Glasner comes in. And then he goes on an absolute tear. Scores against Burnley, doesn't score against Tottenham. Scores against Luton, scores against Forest, doesn't score against Bournemouth, scores against City, doesn't score against us. Gets 2 against West Ham, gets 2 against Newcastle, doesn't score against Fulham, scores against United, scores against Wolves, and then gets a hat-trick against Aston Villa. So, of his 19 goals, he'd scored 6 when Glasner took over. Because he'd also gotten a hat-trick against, I think at the time, League One Plymouth in the EFL Cup. But when Glasner took over, he really took off. And it continued last season, to be fair. Thought he was absolutely outstanding last season. 17 goals in 46 games. Upped his levels as an all-round player. But he is 28 years of age. It's unlikely we would sign a player who's 28 years of age to be a stopgap starting number 9 for us. Could we sign him as a backup? Possibly. Because I do think, as good and all as he's been since Glasner took over, I do think he's more of a backup for a club like us than a starter. I think he'd be a great backup. Would he be happy in that role? I don't know. But he's clearly a good player. There's not a very high ceiling with him, though. He is basically what he is. Now, in a team like ours where he will get more chances, maybe those goal numbers tick up again. But I still don't see us buying him to be our starting 9. I could see it as a backup. So rather than buying Isak for 140, 150 million, we buy Mateta for, I don't know, would it be 40? Would it be 45? I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. Let's see. Does he have 1 year left? He does. He's got 2 years left in his contract. Interesting. He's got 2 years left in his contract. So would it be 50 million? That does seem like a lot. But if we were getting him for that price, and let's say, I mean, the ideal would be if we could get Alvarez. If we get Alvarez for 100 and him for 50, that's a better way of spending 150 million than just buying Isak. I still have a tough time seeing us paying that type of money for a 28-year-old, though, especially with this ownership group. Like, it's just not something that they're likely to want to do. I don't think it's something Edwards would want to do either. And Hughes doesn't have, any kind of track record of doing that type of thing either. So I have significant doubts that we would sign him, but I could see us looking at him as a backup option. It may well just be that we're doing due diligence and looking at what the market has. The other interesting thing that I don't know how interesting it is, Benjamin Šeško followed Liverpool on Instagram, or whoever runs his account followed Liverpool on Instagram. But there have been some reports that we do have interest in him. There is, to be fair, long-standing history of us having interest in him, dating back to when he was at Red Bull Salzburg, before he went to Leipzig. Now, he's done this, what I call the Szoboszlai path, which is signed to Salzburg, loaned to Liefering, and then back to Salzburg, couple of years there, goes to Leipzig, couple of years there, and then moves on. Šeško's done similar. And similar to Dom, he kind of bounced around a little bit during his academy days. So Dom played for 3 different academies in 4 spells. Benjamin Šeško, 4 different academies in 5 spells. Then he goes to Salzburg, goes to Liefering, and he's really young when he went to Liefering. He was like 16. First season as a 16-year-old, he played 15 games, scored 1 goal. And then as a 17-year-old, scored 21 goals in 29 matches, which I know it's the 2nd division in Austria, but for a 17-year-old, it's still pretty impressive. Then he went to Salzburg. The first season, he got 11 and 37, 5 and 24 in the league. It's not great, but he wasn't starting every game. The next season, he becomes more of the focal point. He gets 18 goals in 41 games, 16 and 40 in the league, which, to be fair, is decent. It's a decent return given his age. Now, remember, Benjamin Šeško is 22 years of age, just turned 22 at the end of May. 31st of May is his birthday. So he's a young player in that 22-23 season. He's 19. And he puts up 18 goals and 4 assists, which is, I think, a pretty good return for a 19-year-old in an okay league. And then he moves on and he goes to Leipzig. And you'd imagine the negotiations between Salzburg and Leipzig would be just very, very tough. Anyway, first season there, 18 goals and 2 assists in just over 2,000 minutes. So goal or assist every 100 minutes, basically. Every 105 or something, to be more accurate. And then the last season, he's 21 and 6 in all competitions. And he plays 3,300 minutes or so. So again, it's a good return. Now, it's worth considering a couple of things here. For both in his defense and also as a bit of a, well, he'd have to learn that coming to Liverpool. He's never played as a lone striker for his club. Both Salzburg and Leipzig played 2 up front. So he's always had a partner up front. Now, at Liverpool, he would have Salah. Now, Mo obviously plays a bit wide, so it's not like a 2-man attack. But he would have Mo to play off and play with. but he'd still have to learn how to play as a lone number 9 in different circumstances. You'd like to see a bit more consistency from him. He can be quite a streaky player. Like this past season, he gets 13 goals in 33 league games. In the first 12 games of the season, he scored 3. And he scored 2 in one match. So he only scored in 2 of the first 12 games. Then he scores in 5 straight. And then he manages 5 from week 19 through week 34. So 5 and 15. So he is quite streaky. That's something that, obviously, he's a young player. It can be worked out of his game. We can make him more consistent. But he is a project. Like, he's very much a project. Now, there's a lot to like about him. His size, he's 6'5", he's well built. He's an immense athlete. His ability to leap is second to none. He might have the best standing vertical jump in football. It is outrageous how high he can get in the air. He is great in the air. He's got a good first touch. He's got decent feet for someone as big as him. He can beat people on the dribble. He's got an absolute rocket launcher of a right foot. But he is streaky in front of goal, and he is an inconsistent finisher. And we've just had much of this with Darwin. And it would be nice to have someone that's maybe a bit more refined, a bit more consistent. Now, it is worth pointing out that in each of the last 2 seasons, Šeško has overperformed his XG. In fact, in the last 2 seasons, he scored 27 league goals from an XG of 19.44. So that's a strong overperformance. The question would be, is it sustainable? And that's why we pay people an awful lot of money, to figure out things like this. He only generates about 2.6 shots per game the last 2 years. You'd like that to be higher. But in a team like ours, with people like Mo Salah, Florian Wirtz, Jeremy Frimpong, and Milos Kerkez, plus Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai from midfield, you'd imagine we will be able to create more opportunities for him. Now, I would be more in favour of a win-now striker, because I would like to see us maximising the last few years of Mo and Virgil and Alisson. Šeško is more on the Florian Wirtz timeline, as was Milos Kerkez, as have been a couple of other signings that we've been linked with. They're more long-term pieces, 22, 23 years of age, come in and be part of a long-term group. Can Šeško give us 15 league goals next season? I don't know. We don't have much evidence that he can, because he hasn't done that in a top 5 league. But he is only 22 years of age. And his skill set is appealing. He's more appealing to me than Hugo Ekitike is, because I think his physicality will hold up a lot better in the Premier League. I think he's also a slightly better finisher than Ekitike. Now, he's not as good at creating opportunities as Ekitike, but we might not need him to create a ton of chances. His top speed has been clocked at just under 36 kilometers per hour, but he's not the quickest over the first 5 yards. Neither is Hugo. They're both players that once they get into their stride, then they're quite quick. He does carry the ball quite well, not as good as Ekitike, but he does carry it quite well. He's certainly more powerful with a much stronger upper body than Hugo. He's definitely a lot better in the air. And he generates an awful lot more power with his long-range shooting. But like with Hugo, he does take bad shots because they're young forwards and they're still learning.
Right, the Reds, it's Jack here, and that was a clip from one of Anfield Index's audio podcasts. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you do like, share, and subscribe to keep up to date on all things LFC. We record around 100 audio podcasts every month, with our shows featuring match-going fans, top journalists, professional analysts, and even Liverpool legends along the way. With the Great Dane himself, Jan Molby, joining us every single week. If you want to listen to all our podcasts for free, head over to anfieldindex.com/podcasts. Our audio shows are available wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Anfield Index. Or if you prefer to listen to all our podcasts in full and without any ads, why not head over to AI Pro today to check it out now at anfieldindexpro.com. If you want to get involved in the great growing community of Liverpool fans, check out the Anfield Index Discord. The link is in the description. Do get involved with that from Reds around every corner of the globe. For now, Reds, hope you enjoyed this video.